Hey Jack, I wanted to leave you some feedback on essay two. Overall, I really like the work that you are doing in this essay. I think that you're posing some good questions. You're doing some nice work allowing the author to quote unquote talk with your personal examples. Your transitions between paragraphs are really strong in this essay, meaning that I can easily follow your logic thread. And so I think that as a whole, it's working well. There's just a couple of things here and there that I want to talk to you about. Um, and it's kind of going to be a blend of editing concerns and then higher order concerns, expanding on ideas. So first off, I want you to make sure that you edit for commas, particularly in your introductory phrases. It seems to be a habit. And so an introductory phrase is a short phrase or a short clause at the very beginning of a sentence that's not part of the main part of the sentence, right? It just gives extra information. And because it occurs at the beginning of the sentence, it's like there's this natural pause there. And so the general rule of thumb is you want to set them off with commas. So I'll just point out several of them to you, but I want you to, should you choose to revise, I want you to give your essay an entire read for this concern. In other words, edit the entire paper for it. So here, with schooling being compulsory in America, comma, the question is now, are students getting an education? Here's another one. If this is the case, comma, perhaps it's best that our definition of education changes. And then let's talk about one more. With the redefinition of education, first and foremost, focusing on the acquisition of knowledge that furthers the development of an individual and their skills, comma, the first question we should be asking, da, 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 da. So hopefully you can hear when I read those out loud and I showed you where the commas should go, you'll get a sense of introductory phrases and why they should be set off with the commas. I really love this part of your paragraph. It's this sentence right here where the ideas are good, but there is just so much going on. It's hard for me to focus. So I recommend you breaking this sentence down into actually two separate sentences. I think you need to slow down your pace here because, like I said, it's difficult to follow exactly what it is you're saying. So read this again to yourself and read it out loud, and I think that you'll hear that there's a lot going on there. And then compare that to how clear this sentence is and this sentence is, right? Your paragraph really takes off right here. It's this sentence that is kind of awkward. I recommend some tweaking to your definition here. I would actually put your colon here and do a comma here. So colons can be used in the way that you're using them here. But I think that really you need one here as well, because a colon essentially says more information is coming and here it is, right? So you're saying considering this, you need another comma there, the best redefinition of education would be colon, education, comma, the acquisition of knowledge, da, 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 da. I think if you did that, it would read quite well. Okay, so let's go ahead and press forward. So typically I would have a conversation with you about, scratch that, never mind. I think that even though you included a direct quotation here instead of a summary, this direct quotation really does capture Gatto's main point. So I think it's fine that you included this without the summary. Make sure, however, you include Gatto's essay title in here as well, right? So you need to include your full signal phrase. I really love your movement right here. And I like the way that you have supported it. I think your introduction to, or your inclusion of STEM and philosophy is interesting as well. I think Gatto would approve. But the only thing that you're missing is, even though you start talking about these various philosophers in here, you do not include a second source from from the unit, and remember that is a requirement. So you do indeed need to incorporate a second source to explore. And yeah, and then I was kind of disappointed with your conclusion, because this was all reading quite well, and then you just give us like one sentence floating in space. That at this point that's not enough for a conclusion. So think about the strategies that we use to move beyond just a summary of ideas. Give a call to action. So are you asking that with this redefinition, are you calling for an overhaul of the educational system that we currently have? Or quite possibly, do you want to have a discussion about implications? In other words, what does your discussion mean for students? What does it mean for administrators? And what could it mean for teachers? That's a good way for you to expand here, right? And have a fully realized conclusion. Make sure with your works cited page you center it, or your title, you center it and you remove the colon. And like I said, yeah, that's fine. I don't need you to have a source from that, but you do need a second source from the unit. So I think if you did some revising here, I think that you could easily bring this grade up. So if you're interested in doing so, meaning revising, this is one of the essays that I would recommend that you do so, because you're doing some really good writing here and some good work, Jack. All right, thanks. Let me know if you have questions.